remember. I saw it on my third eye, on my brain. I saw the images of an airplane crashing, and I felt it in my gut. And I ran to my grandparent, hold him, and I told him, "Don't let me on that airplane because it's gonna crash."
You are your own greatest ally or enemy. Awaken the warrior within you. Take charge of your inner kingdom. Welcome to the Warrior Growth Academy podcast.
Welcome to the Warrior Growth Academy podcast, where we build our mental strength in order not just to survive, but to thrive in this life. Sounds, music, is something that is always around us. We love hearing it, some of the songs, some others we like them less. But there's one thing that is clear, that there's some incredible and maybe mysterious magic to sounds. So the guest today is the perfect person to give us a little bit more understanding of what is sound, why are we so attracted to good music or even to the sound of the birds in the nature. She is an holistic, tell me again.
Holistic guide
Yeah.
and sound healer
Yeah,
and a singer.
okay, good, thank you. She is a holistic guide, sound healer, and a singer. Magela, welcome to the Warrior Growth Academy podcast.
Thank you for having me, Jakub. It's a pleasure to be here.
Amazing, amazing. So tell me just a kind of a little, very simple introduction to sounds, frequencies, all those kind of terms that we in a way hear here and there, but we have no idea why it's important, what it does to our body. Give me like a little 101 course.
So first of all, sound is always all around us. Even if we go to physics, it's told that the body vibrates at a certain frequency. So everything outside of our body is frequency. If we go to Einstein, Einstein used to talk about frequencies because everything is measured by hertz. So when you listen to music, to sound, or even the sound of my voice has its own vibration. Everything we emit out to the world has a vibration, aka a frequency, which impacts the way we feel in our bodies. When you listen to negative thoughts, sounds, or negative people talking to you, that affects you because your body is at 70% water. And it's proof that water, when you put it under a certain frequency, it makes fractures, it makes figures, because even the water, it's influenced by positive vibration like negative vibration. And so is your body. If you talk positive to your body, you will feel enlightened, you will feel light, less stressed. If you talk negative, you will immediately receive it as a negative vibration.
Wow. Okay, very interesting. Before getting more into it, when we first met to discuss our collaboration, I've heard a little bit more of your story that led you to this incredible world of sounds and vibrations and healing. Can you give us a little run through of what is the journey that brought you to the Magela of today?
So first of all, I grew up in Cuba. And since I'm a baby, my mom always made me stories of how even listening to the sound of a little tac, 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 it made me so happy because I've always been sensitive to sounds, to vibrations. So from growing up in Cuba, which music is always around you, I've always felt attracted to sound. Then my mom saw me that I was always singing, so she put me into singing classes, guitar classes, and violin. But moving to Canada, I disconnected from music because we didn't have the resources to keep paying for classes. So my way to keep experiencing art was to sing in the chorus of a church. So I got into Christianism, and I started singing in the chorus, praising Jesus. But this was a way of self-expression for free because I had no way to express myself in that time when I came here. Then I had multiple experiences with the spiritual world. When I was 10, I was very asthmatic and always sick, and I had an NDE, which is a near-death experience, but I was actually dead. What happened is that my lungs stopped breathing and my body stopped fighting for air. and I did an allergic reaction to my medicine, and this brought me into a coma state. I stopped breathing for 6 seconds, and in the ambulance, they reanimated me, but this led me into coma. In that period of time where I actually died, I got to see what is the other side of the human. And this was an empty, void place with a lot of love, which I never experienced in real life because I was having a very traumatic life and not growing like every child that I could play outside and run. All the opposite. I was overprotected because even running will get me into asthma. So, by me seeing the other side of the world and experiencing that death is not the end of it, when I came back from the death and I stayed in a coma, I was outside of my body for around 24 hours. Seeing me, seeing my mom, and being in space and time with no limits. I just understood from that moment that I woke up at 10 years old that I've been lied all my life. So my mom thought I was crazy when I came back and I told her, "You don't get it. I was outside of my body. I was seeing you. I was awake. I remember everything." So this is an experience that made me see the quantum field. And not only the quantum, it enlightened all of my gift that I had it already because I was very psychic, very in tune with emotion, very in tune with my own feelings, with music. Sorry, with music as an artist, I've always been very in the borderline autism and very much in my own bubble, creating my own music and my own thoughts. But seeing the quantum field made me understand my own vibration. So this was my first NDE, and I had a second one because I had two in the period of 2 years. And after that, my life was never the same. I've always felt like I was walking in a world where I was very misunderstood because I had um, my whole idea of what the world is, and I was trying to talk about this with people, and people will give me the crazy look. So my only way to isolate it was in my musical world, in my artistic vibe, in making my own sound, in creation, and everything that I knew that would bring me closer to the creator itself. Because being in the quantum, being in the astral, in the world of the dead, you know that there is a creator creating all of this, right? And this creator is within ourselves. And this I understood from singing to the church to experiencing a very mystical experience to just being a human here present in life.
Wow. Would you mind telling also your second near-death experience? Because I think, especially for someone who kind of like listens to this and they're like, okay, she's really weird, probably as you heard from many people. I think that second one, if I remember well, it's the one with the plane.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was on an airplane.
Yes, so please tell this one, because I
So-
think this is, wow.
I believe that everything is coincidences. I'm a living proof that miracles happen in life. I believe in miracles and also in the power of like just your gut feeling. And we received a call from the airline. I was in Cuba. I used to travel every summer alone to spend the summer with my grandparents because I was very close to them, and my mom never wanted me to lose my culture. So I was in vacation in Cuba, and it was time to come back for school. We received a call, and they said, the airplane is broke. You have to travel not from your city, but from Havana. Havana is 14 hours from my city by car.
Wow.
But at the moment I heard that, I will forever remember. I saw it on my third eye, on my brain. I saw the images of an airplane crashing, and I felt it in my gut. And I ran to my grandparent, hold him, and I told him, "Don't let me on that airplane because it's gonna crash." And, at that age, my family is like, well, what can we do? The mother is waiting. We cannot just say, "You're not going to get into the airplane." So they proceed to take me to the airport, and I get into the airplane. And the way I say bye It was knowing that it was gonna happen. It was never a doubt in my head that it was not gonna happen. Like, I felt it, I saw it, and since I'm a child, very intuitive, I've always trust my gut feeling. But they weren't, right? So I'm in the airplane, child traveling alone, everything is going fine. 1 hour in, I see the flight attendant very anxious. They're running everywhere, and when you travel alone, they sit you in the front row, so you're like aware of everything that is happening. And then she comes at me and she says, "Do you speak French?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she tells me, "Can you please say in French when the mask drop to put it in?" And I was like, "What do you mean when the mask drop?" It was like, you're asking me to translate something that I'm like fighting for my life right now. So I didn't say it because I just entered in a panic mode. And the pilot said, "We're having a little complication. I'm just going to ask your collaboration to follow the security, like the little thing you have in the airplane."
The pamphlet that
The
nobody
pamphlet.
reads. Yeah.
Yeah. So what happened is that there was a pressure of air in the cabin because the door from the back was trying to open. So the whole airplane started shaking. We are in the Bermuda Triangle in between Miami and Cuba. We cannot land. Miami is a Cuban airplane. You cannot land because of the embargo, and like you have to go back and land. Cuba has around 300 little islands around. So they say, like, land in one of your little islands. So all of these, the pilot has to say it. Miami doesn't give us authorization, so we're gonna plane back, like motors off, plane back, and try to land safely. Everybody started like freezing, and like in my head, because I saw it crashing, I started telling myself, "I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die." So I activated myself in the subconscious mind that I was dead. And because I already lived a disconnection from my body from the first death, which is an astral projection, I did it unconsciously again. I fainted when the airplane dropped. The airplane dropped from I don't know how many meters to 100 feet from the water. So you will look outside and the water was there while it was planing, trying to land.
Oh
And
my
when I
God.
saw that, I'm like, it's here, here's the end. And I passed out and I disconnected from the body. And I went to this place again, which is the astral, where everything is peaceful and love. And suddenly I had this feeling of like, okay, I'm back here. Because all of my life, I didn't know that feeling till those moments where I will have a disconnection from the body. And then we landed in Cuba. I woke up in the middle of nowhere. We were like in the point of the island waiting for the rescue. And we were there for 8 hours waiting outside. Meanwhile, my mom is here waiting for me at the airport. She gets there and it says the plane is canceled. And then my family in Cuba is like, "What do you mean cancel? We saw her getting in the airplane." No, no, no. They don't have information of where is the plane. They didn't knew. So everybody's like freaking out, and my grandpa said, "You see, this is why we need to listen to her." So they found us, and then my family got me like 8 hours later. And this was their lesson, to learn to listen to my intuition, because all my childhood I was ignored. I grew up in a culture when the children speak and they tell you the child don't talk when the adults speak. So my voice all the time I was repressed in my own body, and I had to find my way. Well, I didn't have to find my way, but life thought that you have to listen to her, and even though a lot of my time I was ignored growing up.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so later on, how did you find the world of sound healing and the bowls and you singing to it and leading ceremonies? I'm probably skipping a huge step. If
Yeah.
there's something that connects, you can obviously go into that, but how did that become?
So Like I said, I've always been into music and sound, but by 2020, I experienced a huge breakup where I was devastated, and I was dating this hippie guy that he got me into the world of mindfulness. So he was the first person that introduced me to yoga, to meditation, and everything mindfulness. And when we separated, I became more in touch. Well, I was already connecting to these meditation and looking for ways to soothe my mind. And after the breakup, what I started doing to sleep is that I will put like binaural beats to sleep in YouTube. And I developed an obsession with the sound behind. And I started researching what is binaural beats made of. And this is when sound like introduced itself to my life, because I discovered this YouTuber that was doing like sound healing with the voice. And I remember listening to her, and I had a calling inside of me saying, you will do that one day. Like I felt it. I'm like, wow, this is what I want to do with my own life. I wish I could just explore my own voice and making my way into self expression, but with sound. So ceremonies came because I opened TikTok channel where I started to share my intuitive insights, because I've been very intuitive and I've always had a facility to listen to people and to guide people, and the therapist friend. And like my friend just told me, you have a gift, you have to share your voice. So I listened to that, I started sharing it, and I discovered cacao, because my ancestors are Arahuaque Taínos, Cuban, and they used to heal with cacao. And my dreams are very insightful. And I had a dream where this Indian woman, she came and she told me, don't forget that you are Taína. And this was very like the key element to my awakening and reconnecting to my roots, because in my culture nobody is connected to these roots. So the moment I start investigating who are Tainos and getting full into details of what happened to my ancestors, I find cacao. And cacao is very known right now in Western culture, but this is actually from the Maya, the Aztec, the African, and the Aboriginal. This was their medicine. So I started practicing cacao ceremonies alone in my home. And when you do cacao ceremonies, you need to set an intention. And because I've always practiced prayer from church, I did a prayer to the cacao, and I asked cacao, if you believe that I am meant to work with you, make it happen without me looking for the opportunity. You gonna present yourself into my life. And I just put it out there to the universe. Because I was sharing already to my TikTok community, this woman found me and she said, hey, do you do cacao ceremonies? I need a facilitator this weekend. And I just saw the opportunity of cacao presenting itself, and I took it. From the knowledge of my ancestors and me practicing alone, I opened my first cacao ceremony in a full moon circle in the Mont Royal outside, and it was very beautiful when I saw people experiencing, first of all, the depth of my word, like the spirit was talking through me. People were crying, and not only that, people wanted a second dosage. When cacao, somebody taken it like, this is not so good, I don't want any more. People in my ceremonies, they always want more cacao, because I don't know, I find like I connect so well to the plant that I gain wisdom from doing it, to the moment that I serve it, to the moment that I open a sharing circle to cultivate vulnerability. So from that, the practice of cacao, I did 1 year of full cacao ceremonies and just sharing circle. And then I manifested the bowls, because I believe in manifestation. And like I put it out there for cacao, I put it out there for the bowls. So I say, God, if you believe that I am meant to work with sounds and frequency and find my way of doing my own medicine with it, put it into my life. This is my budget. This, like the sounds became super famous in Western society, and the prices were $2,000, $1,600 for a set of bowl. And my budget was $600, because I work and like I'm an entrepreneur, but I'm hustling since the age of 17. I don't have mommy and daddy paying. Is me full time going after life. And I said, I know there's gonna be a day that these balls will be at my budget and I'm gonna get it. I forgot about it completely and I did ayahuasca. And in my ayahuasca ceremony, she gave me a big life lesson. But because I already experienced death, ayahuasca even asked me, if I tell you that you're gonna die right now, what will you do? And my answer is, I'm gonna die in peace because I've been a great human so far. She saw I wasn't afraid of the rebirth process, the die and become another version of yourself, that remove the traumas and surrender to life. So she took me to a whole reincarnation process of the earth. And then she gave me the lesson of keep believing in the art because everything around you is art, even yourself, you're made from art. So just having that in my head, after this ceremony, when I came out, I started researching the bowls, and guess what price they were?
600.
I have the
Goddamn.
bill, I have confirmation.
I got the receipts like Cat Williams.
I didn't hesitate. I bought them and immediately I started practicing at home and I found my methods. And then I became so obsessed by the feeling in my body from being in fight or flight mode and always stressed. And like I tell you, from 17, I work, like I had 4 work and like always hustling. The moment I had the balls in my life, it was like everything stops. I could breathe better. I could feel my emotion. My brain was calm. My body was relaxed. No more tension. And I had this calling that I have to give this to the world. I want people to experience this, not from an egocentric belief, but because it did something to me. I know it can have an impact to the world. And this is the calling that came to opening ceremonies.
Amazing. Before coming back to sound and the ceremonies, I just wanted to come back because I think this is very interesting and there's a lot, I think, of theories, let's say, I don't know, maybe philosophies, I would say, about life and death. I think it's very, we hear it in different cultures in so many different ways. For example, I did a Temescal ceremony in Mexico and it symbolizes going back to your mother's womb and dying and the rebirth when you come out of it. So of course, yeah, it sounds kind of weird at first, but then not only you feel it and you, no joke, talking about personal experience, you are very close to at least having the emotion of like, I'm about to die. But why do you think we are so scared of death? Or maybe what have you observed the relationship between life and death? Because you had some experiences, like how do you see death?
I believe the ego mind doesn't want you to experience death because we are attached to the material of what it is to be a human, but in the outside, we're all spirits. So we come from the earth and we're going back to the earth. And this detachment process, it takes a lot from a human to detach from everything. And this is where you find unconditional love. The moment you stop having expectations of life, expectation from people, putting so much pressure on your own self, and you experience detachment, which means to be surrendered to every moment present in time that you are in. You're not worried if right now you go outside and you died because you feel complete and full within your own self. So the human, I believe, like we're so attached to all of those things that we want to achieve in life that if we die at the age of 17, we say, oh, but he has so much to live. And nobody dictates the process of I'm going to live 70, 80, 90 years because you cannot control life. So everything is in the detachment to not control life and to allow life to unfold in front of you. Because if we take it back to birth, to the moment that you are in the womb of the mother, a lot of mother die while giving you life, right? So everything is a sacrifice. Even you coming into this life is a sacrifice process. So gratitude and being so grateful of this life and this present moment is going to help, I believe, everyone to stop worrying so much about death, because death is a natural thing. And even Egyptians in ancient Kemet, they believe in the afterlife. So they were waiting for that moment that they will get to experience the balance and go to their next life, because they know that each life, they believe in reincarnation, each life has a lesson. Each life is a process. Each life is a help for your soul evolution to become better and more wise. So your next life is going to be easier and maybe longer, right? So this is my answer. I don't think anyone knows the truth about life, but in my knowledge, not that I'm not afraid to die, because like everyone, we have goals and we have things that we want to achieve, but every day walking a little bit lighter and a little bit in the control and more into, let me be more detached today. Maybe I can start with a simple thank you God, or thank you universe, I'm awake. What do I get to do today with my life, right? So living an intentional life with a great purpose of just being alive and breathe air and allow your lungs to expand and what do I get to do, right? But you cannot have this ultimate goal of life every day, because we have work, responsibilities. So in those time, where do you find self-care? Where do you find yourself again into those little stressful moments of life, you know? So I will always bring people back into mindfulness and gratitude and self-care.
Absolutely. And usually I try always to find commonalities between different cultures, different timelines in our history to, I think, see if there's something that is aligned and has been done for many years in different parts of the world. It means maybe there's something there. So it might, require a little bit of attention. And same thing about death, the Stoics, so the
Yeah.
philosophers of Rome, they had this practice, daily practice of memento mori, which means remember you will die, and it's a daily practice of literally picturing or just thinking of your death. And as cynical or weird as it sounds, the goal of that practice is to make you enjoy that day, to be grateful, to live it fully, to give your best, to also be present, because you don't know if it's not your last day. So same thing, what kind of sounds a bit scary, death, can be something actually that brings you more life,
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
Amazing. So tell us a little bit more about what is happening in, a sound healing ceremony. So you've touched upon kind of a bit of the science of the vibration in the water, but for someone who've never experienced that and so far just hears, many spiritual words and frequencies and bowls and sounds and healing, what does it look like and what is the experience? What are the benefits?
So sound healing, it alternates your brain waves. It's proven in science. They've done multiple exercises with people where they experience different frequencies, like hertz, to see what it does to your brain. So the higher the frequency, the more in stress mode you're gonna be. The less pitch of the frequency, the more relaxed and calm you're gonna be. So the Tibetan bowls or the sound healing bowls, they are in the frequency from 600 hertz to 60 hertz. And my bowls, they are programmed in 430 hertz. These help your body to feel completely relaxed. From the moment you listen to it, your brain does an interference with the sound and it calms your brain, and you go into theta and maybe alpha mode. It depends from how you accept the sound, because every day we're walking in beta, which is survival mode, thinking, rationalizing, and trying to be skeptical about life. And then the sounds come here and tell you, listen to me. Now you're gonna calm down, and your brain automatically goes into theta mode. In the theta mode, you experience creativity, you experience calmness, you experience what it is to have I'm trying to look for the word. Well, just to put it simple, the anxiety completely removes itself, and you go from feeling anxious to completely relaxed. More benefits that it has, it takes your cells from your body and it regenerates them, because the frequencies not only goes through your ears, it penetrates your body. If you put a ball in a big space, the ball will navigate in the room and it would expand. It will take over whatever dimension you put it in. It will just expand itself, and you don't have a choice but to listen to the frequency. So you can see people with cancer experiencing sound frequency, and they will help the process of healing. This is why you have people that are very sick, that you take them to sound therapy, because sometimes just calming your brain in the power of the mind is where the healing resides, right? So nobody can help you heal until you make that choice that you want to heal yourself, and find spaces where it opens your body, it opens your heart, it opens your understanding process to accept something new that could be beneficial, right? A lot of people at the beginning of a sound healing, they're unease because the frequencies are very loud and it can make you uncomfortable, and a lot of people move. But there's other people that go immediately into sleeping, and this is where your body is completely relaxed and surrender to the floor to receive it. What is curious that I see in my one-on-one therapies is when I put the balls in front of my clients, like in their body, and they tell me, oh, it feels like an internal massage, because when you put it on their body, it makes vibrate everything inside, and you can even experience how your muscles and your organs accept the sound as an alternative way of feeling like a massage. It's like a completely soothing relaxation.
Amazing. And actually, it's very good that you say that it might be a little bit uncomfortable, because actually, it's funny. I experienced that the first time I've had a session with you, and I was like, in the first 5-ish minutes, I was like, I'm not digging this. I think I had a lot of expectations. I had a crazy week, so like, maybe some external factors, but I think I wasn't ready. But then I just surrendered. I'm like, I'm here anyways, so might as well take it all and just accept whatever's happening. And it was one of the most profound and incredible experiences of my life. So absolutely, honestly, I suggest this to anybody.
Me too. I believe sound is going to be the medicine of the future, because of all of the scientific are trying to get their hand into it. Like, how come like a simple frequency can change your body? And I believe like not only medicine is not going to go away, but people are going to find more holistic way to come back to the roots. And our ancestors, they healed through sound, with the drums, with jumping on the earth and creating sound and frequency. And every ritual from the ancestor included sound. Even the pyramids in Egypt are constructed in a way that is vibrational. So when you go to the king chamber and you do a simple oh, it vibrates all of the pyramid. So how come the ancestors knew that there was something in sound that could change your body, right? That could elevate the frequency, because the way that it works is that is connected to each chakra point of your body, each energetic center, and it enlightens them to be at their fullest potential, which we are not every day. Our chakras are always closed down because of our own anxiety, the mind, and everything. It doesn't allow the human to live at the fullest potential. So, what sound essentially does is opening the door for you to discover that you can live at your fullest potential.
Amazing. Amazing. Mahela, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for creating these experiences for the platform. Even if you're septic, I'm telling you, please just give it a try. This is something that you don't have to fully understand. This is something you don't even have to fully believe. You just have to experience it and see the benefits. So make sure to check out Mahela's Sound Healing on the Warrior Growth Academy, and make sure to subscribe to not miss those incredible conversations. See you in the next one.